بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد سيد البشر وآله وصحبه وسلم أجمعين. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله في نعمك وكافة بسلطانك تام ومدني يا الله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ومن والاه. ومن لم يوالي هذا الرسول فليترك أو يصمت. This is only used for information purposes. If you do not like what we say, please either leave or just sit, listen for only information purposes. We've reached Islam in the eyes of the world or the West by country, and we've finished Pakistan. We're going to Indonesia, Southeast Asia. Countries of Southeast Asia are the only countries who hold the official madhab of Sayyidina al-Shafi'i. So basically, if you want to do anything, you'll have to see if it's basically in the madhab al-Shafi'i or not. A lot of them are Azhariyin, a lot of them do not want to be Wahhabiyin, and a lot of them basically, I lived in Malaysia, and a lot of them resent the Salaf and the Salaf, Fikr Salaf, which is Jama'ah Islamiyya has got some of them. There's some Salafis who are basically trying to take over the government and overthrow. Well, good luck with that. The Malaysian government has got army and an Indonesian army, and they're both together are all Shafi'i, and they're all prepared to keep Madhab al-Shafi'i well and alive. And all of the scholars go to Al-Azhar al-Sharif, and they all even ask each other, when you speak Arabic to them, they just say Azhari, yes, Azhari, alhamdulillah. Going on to Madhab Sayyidina Shafi'i is the safest, or going to Sayyidina Abu Hanifa al-Nu'man in Pakistan and Wabi is the safest. But why? Because you've got a madhab, you've got a chain of narration, al-isnad to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you go on Salafi, you go on your own, the Sheikh, what did the Sheikh say? Oh, shoot, let's go and shoot, man. That's Salaf for you. They have no minhaj. They take from Al-Albani. Al-Albani made Tasheeh Hadith. What do you mean Tasheeh Hadith? Even when you learn from Ustaz Wahid in Al-Azhari in Al-Azhar al-Sharif, he's got lectures on the internet about Nushat al-Nadar for Sayyidina Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. It's amazing. And true, we all stand shoulder to shoulder with Al-Azhar al-Sharif. True, what do you mean by, oh, well, I'm going to decide this is hadith sahih, this is hadith da'if, and go on with it? It doesn't work that way. I remember in Indonesia, the demonstrations always on the street are showing you Indonesians who are only angry, screaming Allahu Akbar, holding the Quran maybe, and that image is splattered everywhere. Jama'ah Islamiyya, unfortunately, they did their attack, the infamous attack in Bali, one of the gruesome attacks that basically killed a lot of Australians, and that became the September 11th of the Australians. It did scare a lot of people. Of course it scared a lot of people. They used 2 bombs and they bombed everybody basically. Not just, bomb is not going to distinguish between Muslim and non-Muslim, kafir or non-kafir. They also killed themselves. It was like a suicide attack. Amazingly, people here, when the munafiq, I've got another chapter about munafiqeen, how they open mosques and how they fill in their money boxes, because the munafiq knows. Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu said, Wallahi la uharibanna man yufarriq bayna as-salati waz-zakah. As-salah and zakah has been always together. And the Suyuti, in his book Tarikh al-Khulafa, says that fiqh Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, his knowledge was higher than everybody. That's why he went to war with Hurub al-Ridda. Those who apostated and said, well, we're not Muslims, we're going to go to Muslim. He said, no, I'm going to fight you. Because they stopped the zakah. As zakah and salah go together. So al-munafiq knows, if I open any mosque, I'm going to get kofas and kofas of money. Because the Muslim is not a terrorist. The Muslim is sincere to his religion. Al-Muslim, mu'min, sincere. I can't remember going to a mosque and seeing an imam saying, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, we are all faithful, we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you're all faithful and you're all praying it. Never ever. It is always, you're bad, you're this, we always go to the mosque to feel that we're bad. These are the pop-up mosques I'm talking about. I'm not talking about community mosques. Community mosques, there's 3 large communities here, the Indonesian, the Arab, which is Lebanese in Sydney, and there is the Turks. And they all were organized. I'm talking about the pop-up mosque, the mosque that opens a year and the following year he closes and he goes away, cries. What happened, brother? He cries, we couldn't make the rent. Dude, you made $4.5 million. So I told once a friend of mine, Like, I wonder how much of this money had gone into a canister in front of which Australian embassy, and the guy beside me fainted. He said, "You can't say this, man. They take us to Guantanamo Bay." I said, "Look at this guy. You've got the wrong country, dude. We're in Australia. The most they can do maybe is drag your sorry behind into the outback and shoot you. That's all it is." And everybody basically knows that none of the Muslims want to pay money to a munafiq mosque and get this money to go into legal ways. Nobody wants that. Indonesia, unfortunately, has been always portrayed as the Jama'ah Islamiyah, or the hub for the terrorists of Jama'ah Islamiyah, just like how Iraq and Daesh and Syria and Daesh and all the others. You ask any Indonesian about this Jama'ah Islamiyah, none of them want to do anything with it. Abu Bakr Bashir got his sentence. The other guy, also the smiling whatever jihadist, got his sentence. Indonesia is cracking down on them really, really heavily. Being sincere in Indonesia or Malaysia or Brunei or Singapore to Islam does not mean that you're a terrorist. In fact, it shows that how strong Islam and the Quran and the teaching of it is really going. And for those people who are making noise, well, I'm really sorry. You go to we know that the Pacific is a Catholic pool because all of them are Catholics. I'm quite amazed. The Catholic faith is still going strong. There's also a witch hunt in the Catholic Church. People are trying to destroy the Catholic Church. People are trying to destroy even traditional Judaism. Just like last century, 6 million of them died. I wonder how many million Muslim will die this year or this century. Who knows? Allah, I might be dead. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. I don't want to know, man. Malaysia, I personally remember Malaysia. I love Malaysia, by the way. I like the way they were so dedicated, and they used to go to the mosque. Everybody had his baju on him, the baju Melayu, and they used to go and pray. Prayer times is prayer times. Dancing times is dancing times, and eating times is eating times. That's how it is. I mean, Malaysia was the face of the Islam for a while there, but it didn't show all the Muslims. It showed only Malay Muslims and the Madhab al-Shafi'i, which is quite good. There's nothing wrong with it. But every country has its taste with Islam. Al-Arqam, Al-Arqam was arrested in October 1994, just a month, I think, when I've reached Malaysia. And from there, Al-Arqam group was Al-Ash'ari Muhammad was one of the persons who initiated this group, and his ideas, I saw them similar to the Wahhabi, where Wahhabis basically didn't want to innovate. Everything's bid'ah, 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 except for the Chevrolets and the air conditioners. They loved that, but anything else is bid'ah. Al-Arqam group had the same thing. Not allowed to use wallets, not allowed to talk to a non-Muslim, not allowed to do it. Totally extremist. Islam was never like this. Islam has been in Europe since 711. You know what I mean? 711 AD. We've been in Europe for the past 1,300 years. Nothing happened. No, in fact, they sucked the blood of the Muslim from the books and the knowledge. Robert of Chester forged Al-Khwarizmi book and put it in his name. Robert of Chester is the father of mathematics in Britain, and I always repeat this. Instead of writing sign is supposed to be join, because in Arabic it's jaib, not saib. It was jaib. Jaibu Zawiya. It is the sign, it is the join of the angle. He read the S, the old S, as J. Yeah, sorry, he read the old J as S. And that's where it was shown that he's. But you go and ask the British, they'll go, "Ha! We used to rule you people." Okay, dude, you stay where you are. You stay where you are. Mahathir Mohamad became the Prime Minister of Malaysia, and pulled Malaysia out of agriculture to industry. There's no haram in that. Islam was always there to push people forward, not to take them backward into the desert. Islam جاء ليحضر. So if you're living in an apartment building and you want to go become a Bedouin, that's haram. It's no way. You need to move forward, dude. You need to move forward. That's why a lot of people praised Abdulaziz Al Saud when he took the Bedouins, and even Al-Rihani, it's a Christian scholar, a Christian Lebanese historian who praised Abdulaziz Al Saud. He is one of his sources. One of his books are the sources of what happened in Arabia those days. After Mahdi Muhammad, there's Brunei Dar es Salaam. Brunei Dar es Salaam is a very small sheikhdom. Hassan al-Bolkiah is the Sultan, and the oil is not as much as Saudi Arabia, but when they wanted to carry out Sharia law, they were, by media, attacked because they were a small country, vulnerable. And they showed everybody that this is the doing of the Quran, and they went against him and against all of his projects that he had in Europe and in the US. Let me tell you this. If you read the Constitution of Jordan, or the Constitution of Kuwait, or the Constitution of Egypt, the Constitution of Egypt even goes one step further than the Jordanian one. It says, basically, Article 1 is the name of the country. Article 2, we take the laws from the Quran. Egypt even goes better. We take it from the Quran, and because of Al-Azhar al-Sharif, it is our duty to spread Islam. There you go. So you'd have to understand, all of them take parts of Sharia law into the system. You cannot get married without having a Sharia law. Same with Nomos Mushi. Nomos Mushi, Shariat Musa alayhi salam, is the Sharia of Moses. In Israel, it's the same thing. You cannot get married without the Sharia, their Sharia. Otherwise, you're not married. So there's a lot of things that the world will have to understand, that people cannot throw their holy books away and go into the Sharia, into the secularism, complete secularism. That's rubbish. And Donald Trump said the same thing. We don't care about how you actually practice your religion. You have the freedom of your religion. This is what's actually making us even stay here. It's the same thing. We as Muslims still have the ability to practice Islam here more than Wahhabis are everywhere. They're chased around left, right, and center. In Australia, you can become a Wahhabi and mind your own business. There's no problems there. Or a Salafi. You become a Salafi. We know the UK. The UK is the hub of the Salafiyah. All of them are Salafi. Most of them have taken over from Al-Hanafiyyah. So this is odd. If you look at this world is divided. I have a map that I'm going to talk to you about later, about the madhahib. Where are the madhahib, and how did Islam actually travel? Wherever the Muslim travels with his madhab. There's no such thing as I'm going to read the Quran and then find out on my own. It doesn't work that way. I met a couple of people like that. That's stupidity in action. They're just being silly. Just like when the celebrities in London, they have these talk shows. I call them talk shows. And they go, I've learned Islam from the books, not from the Arabs. You see, whenever they can demean, demise, or even insult the Arab, they can. They do that all the time. Unfortunately, this is the world in today's day and age. They are very keen on showing you that the Arab are someone not to be trusted. Rasulullah ﷺ is Arabic. What are you going to say about that? Go to page 320. I've shown you how basically the world is divided between Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanafi. But it's not much of a problem. Even if you're a Shafi'i, wherever the British landed, they took the Shafi'i to England. And because they landed in India and Pakistan, that was Hanafi. So everything translated in England is Hanafi. Everything translated in Spain is Maliki. Everything here, almost Shafi'i and Hanafi. It is only recently that we're getting this Wahhabi wave of basically going all out. In other words, maybe people will condemn me by saying this. We have been living side by side. There's no problems whatsoever as Muslims living in a Western world. Salafi, extreme Salafi jihadi, he will tell you, go and get a kitchen knife, stab a policeman. That's jihad. That's not jihad. That is murder. Absolute murder. Christmas is coming. That's kafir. If you say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, أنت كافر. أنت مشرك بالله. مشرك بالله. Dude, we, as according to the Quran, who's أولى بسيدنا موسى عليه السلام? We are. الذين آمنوا للمؤمنين وهذا النبي. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran وهذا النبي, and he says الذين آمنوا, those people who have faith. And this Nabi, he is أولى بسيدنا Musa. He's got priority over you guys, the Jews in Medina, over Sayyidina Musa. And نحن أولى بسيدنا عيسى, because we already know وأتينا عيسى ابن مريم البينات وأيدناه بالروح القدس. It's always like that, and it keeps on repeating. We praise Mary more than they do. So we are أولى. Yes, if it's his birthday, we should commemorate his birthday. We should commemorate these events. We should commemorate also the فلق البحر, taking the Israelites al-Asbat out of Egypt. We commemorate all this. It is only this new ideology that we're getting around on the streets. Go and kill this, blow up and become a sheikh. I tell those Muslims, next time you see someone telling you, brother, Allah chose you to become shaheed. Awesome. I give you this privilege. You go blow up yourself, not me. You'll go, oh, you start crying. I wish I could, but I can't. MashaAllah. Nifaq. He's been paid. He's been paid to get some stupid idiots like you to go and blow up themselves. So why won't you tell him next time? If somebody says, oh, you've been selected, good, I give my place to you. You go. Yalla, you go. This is becoming ridiculous. This is what we call tijara fi din. And unfortunately, the world has only seen this part of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.